guys, and welcome to another little quickie, I would say, since I am on Harry. Actually, I'm very sleepy, but I had this pretty unique thought in my head and I had to discuss it and let it out. It is not any source of, it is not any sort of a scientific aspect, but it's more of a psychological ones. My own purpose of this conversation is that Newton laws should not be applied into our personal lives. For example, we're not objects. We did not start the example yet. That's a note. But we are not objects, and we should just living on an object or completely fundamentally relying on objects doesn't truly make us among that category, I would say. So measuring those laws on our treatments of others is not the right thing in my opinion, and they do not always work, all the three laws. So let's talk about the first law that states that an object in motion stays in motion unless an outside force acts on it. Okay, if we had to some people really do apply those things into their lives. I don't know like if you guys do that, but in my family and in my culture we really do. So they're like, oh, if a person treated you that way, then you gotta treat them equally back. We'll get back to that on the third law, but the first law states that an object, again, in motion stays in motion unless an outside force acts on it. If we had to measure this on our lives, note, we are not objects. I would totally disagree, because if any kind of force, okay, you would not stay in motion. Okay, wait. I don't know how to present the idea itself, but you staying in motion doesn't require an outside force to push you, in my opinion, in most of the cases. Once it does, in my opinion, it would not be an enough excuse to, as the law says, move you away from that motion, because, oh my god, because it would do temporarily, or it would actually not, and it might turn you out to become more stable at your place, in my opinion. So in my opinion, there should not be any kind of interfere from any kind of outsider force, but the actual force should start from the character and emotion itself. That's the first law. That's what I'm just clarifying. Why am I against Newton laws? It's not any sort of scientific or philosophy, but more of a. Also, I don't really care if there are no viewers in this live. I know you guys keep coming inside and leaving. I'm not making this for any kind of receiving comments. I'm literally considering this as a YouTube. Okay, so the second law states that acceleration of an object in the same direction as the net force on the object, which would kind of repeat my point. Pushing your child, for example, it's just an example. I'm just great. All of the viewers have left the live. Wow, is that boring? I'm not. So again, it states that the acceleration of an object in the same direction as the force on the object, in my opinion, it does not necessarily happen that way. If you filled the car with too much gas, that's an object, it's not a person. What would happen? It would actually get the opposite results and might explode, or not necessarily take you to the direction that you want, it would actually not take you to any direction, might also take you backwards if you were trying to reach the peak of a mountain. So that's why the second law does not work, not just on cars but on anything. Any kind of force would not make it go in the direction you want. It would rather leave it with no results, or it would take it to the opposite direction. The third law, which I'm totally excited to clarify, and which it was actually the first thing that came to my head when I decided to talk about why am I against Newton laws, or against applying Newton laws on all cases, which is the third law states that every action has an equal but an opposite reaction, and we hear this every single day. Pretty much the most one we hear, because whenever we get mistreated or even treated in a good way, we would have to, which I have as well, is returning the favor or returning the energy or the action on the equal direction that I got it from with the same energy. I would say that this should not be working on half the cases, not the majority, not even a few, but like half of the cases, because we would actually need it in both directions, whether mistreatments. So the third law states that every action has an equal and the opposite reaction. Why do I disagree with that in my personal life? Either being mistreated or treating others nicely. Let's start with the positive side, since I don't want to make my life too dark, but if you treated others nicely, or you have achieved an action expecting an equal reaction from others, then that would completely ruin your life, even though it's a good thing. And you must be doing the same thing to others. Like if they did something good to you, you'll have to return it back. But it does not work on all cases, since expecting that law could actually be pretty tiring, and it would make the world kind of empty and out of giving and taking. It would be actually too balanced to a point where, I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but hope you guys got my point. Do not expect the same reaction. Life is not an object. People are not objects. Yeah, that's my own message, that's my own purpose. The second law, the other side of it. Wait, let me put that laptop away so I can explain my last point before ending this live. And my last side of the story, which is the negative side, which I actually thought about deeply. Do you really have to do the same goddamn equal reaction on the opposite direction of where you got the type of negative force from? Do you always have to do that? I feel like if we did that without any sort of control, many of you guys might consider it as a way of balancing the world or taking our rights. But if we actually did it on the big things, then our world is going to be turned into a forest. We're going to be there will basically eventually be no difference between us and animals. Actually, there is a difference. Animals could be better than us, since God has created predators for a reason. He created predators who would eat, you know what I mean. I don't know what to call those types of, should I call them victims, or I forgot the name itself, but you guys know what I mean. So imagine the entire world, or like the entire animals kingdom as predators. would it even have that kind of balance? The answer is basically not. Although they're acting with balance, eating each other, they would die at the end of the day. So that's what I'm trying to say. If we thought about it deeply, humanity would not even survive if it followed that sort of rule, whether in good or bad. Okay, I hope my point was clear enough. I hope I did not miss out anything. And whenever I find more of those controversial, I guess, viral kind of stuff that we follow, or if I found anything wrong about it, I would confess it here. Thank you for listening, although I got no viewers right there, but I'll say this live, and I hope you guys watch it and get my point. Bye, good night, thanks for listening.